Seriously Sinister discusses true petty crimes that may be disturbing to some.
Or it could be easy listening to all of you psychopaths out there.
Names and places have been changed to protect the hosts legally.
Listener discretion is not advised. Seriously Sinister.
Welcome to Seriously Sinister. When you realize Amazon is just DoorDash Walmart.
Are you okay? Did you get frozen?
I did get frozen.
I feel like we were on a Zoom call. You just got frozen. Are you all right?
I'm good.
Okay. Poor Trevin. I think I might just need to give you a little slap across the face and wake you up. Oh, Trevin, how are you? Do you have a dreadful dilemma?
I do have a dreadful dilemma.
Okay.
And it's a little serious.
Oh, okay.
It might be a little trigger warning-y for some people with eating issues.
Oh, damn. Okay.
But I am realizing that for the last, many years, I think I've had a bit of an eating disorder. And it's something that I've been kind of looking into to see just if I really did. And there's just so much talk where it's almost like a weird stigma that's just like, oh, well, if you have an eating disorder, you have to be really skinny.
Right.
Or something like that. It's totally not the case. And they say that most people with eating disorders are overweight people. And that's just, doctors don't really jump to that conclusion because there's that stigma to it.
Right.
And my body has just not worked correctly for the longest time, it seems. And anytime I would go to the doctor or something, I have always had like this weird fear, like, I'm going to have cancer. Because it's just like, there's
Trevin.
there's just certain things where it's just like, I'm always tired. Mm-hmm. I'm always this. I always would say, oh, I work out all the time. But I would compare myself to Splinter, like from Ninja Turtles.
Oh.
So in Ninja Turtles, there's the old rat named Splinter, and he trains the turtles. And so he walks around with a cane, but then in certain moments, he'll drop the cane and he'll kick ass. And then after he's done kicking ass, he picks his cane back up and he's like, oh, fuck. And then he just like walks slow. And so that's how I would feel. I would pump myself up, get a workout done, and then I would just go back to being like, oh my God, I'm slow again.
Dang.
It's just kind of been something that's piled on. And I just, honestly, my OCD-ness and everything, I've been trying to figure it out. Like, what little thing do I need to fix in my life that fixes this problem? Like that saying goes, when the student is ready, the master appears, or the teacher appears. Mm-hmm. And it's something that it's like, I don't have an eating disorder. It can't be. And then it finally hit me one day. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I think I do.
Damn.
I'm a good sized guy. It's just like I'm tall and whatnot. And I haven't been eating enough. I lost 100 pounds at the age of 23. And I think I probably didn't do it in the most healthy of ways. But it's really easy to lose a lot of weight your first time if you just don't eat. Mm-hmm. And then my weight has just been a roller coaster ever since, because I will go so long where I just don't eat, or I will have a breakfast that's like 250 calories. I'll have a lunch that's like 300, and then I'll just have a decent normal dinner. But by that point, I'm eating maybe 1,600 calories when I'm a guy who burns way more than that just because of my size, plus I'm working out. And I've found that I've just been hurting myself, and it kind of sucks. But, it's also kind of refreshing because I can actually say all of these random ass things like, oh, I think I have this disease. Oh, maybe I have this disease. Like, I'm not, was that a
hypochondriac?
I'm not a hypochondriac, but I've just been working so hard to try to figure out what this is. What causes this? What's ruining my quality of life?
You just need more energy. You need more fuel. Yeah.
They say that a person with an eating disorder is more susceptible to going to like a weight loss therapist type thing than to actually go to get help for a eating disorder. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, what did I just go do? I just paid to go get the laser lipo thing because I was just frustrated because everybody says, Trevin, you eat so healthy. Oh, you don't eat a lot. And it's like, I don't.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm doing the opposite. I'm gaining weight because I'm not eating enough. I'm not gaining weight because I'm eating too much. And, it's one of those things where it's like, yes, You don't have to be anorexically skinny to have one. And it's not just a female problem.
Right. Totally. No, I think that's awesome that you're even shedding light on that, because it's probably so much more common than people know. And I think that's a really good point. You don't have to have a lot of an extreme physical appearance to have an eating disorder too. I mean, anybody can have one.
Right.
Really. And it is a guy thing as well. So, like, what are you going to do? Are you just going to, like, stop counting calories and just try and eat more? Or, like, where are you at on your journey now? Are you going to take better care of yourself?
I'm eating more.
Okay.
I actually am still kind of counting calories, but that's only just to make sure I get enough. Because, and honestly, if I don't think about it, I always eat the same breakfast. I always eat the same lunch every day. And the reason why I've always done that is because it's easier to keep track of my calories. So I've added extra things to my breakfast. I've added an extra little snack here. I've done different things to add more to it. And I felt a lot better. I can already tell some things have been getting better. I'm less frustrated with little things. And it makes me wonder if maybe, went and got back on medication and stuff for depression. Maybe I didn't need to really do that so much. Maybe I should have been taking care of myself and my body wouldn't have felt so lousy and broken all the time. They say that it finally hit me when I was reading an article from this woman who had an eating disorder. And she said that she would deprive herself so much to keep at a lower number of calories that your body is going through like resource scarcity where it thinks that it's starving. So then it holds on to weight and whatnot. So what happens after that is your body starts to slow down certain processes. It slows down your metabolism. It slows down your digestion. It slows down a lot of things that affects your mood. And they said that subconsciously it will actually make your brain feel like resources are scarce too. And so like the girl in the article said, oh, I was actually taking Ziploc baggies and cleaning them out and drying them to reuse them again because subconsciously I just felt like I would be wasting this baggie if I didn't use it, enough. And I remember back to a time where at the old house, I was saving paper plates and I would kind of clean them off and reuse them. And Emily would throw away a paper plate that I had maybe used like 3 days in a row. And I would be like, you wasteful. Why did you throw that away? And then I wouldn't freak out on her, but it was like I'd internalize it and just be like, how dare this frivolous human being throw away my shit like this.
Oh my gosh.
So when I first read that, I was like, oh my gosh, that's something that probably isn't normal. And they say that when people go through that, it can cause obsessive compulsive issues because you're always trying to keep a balancing act.
And which you and I both have already. So
right.
Don't make it any worse. I feel you.
Yeah.
Damn. Well, I mean, at least you now have realized that. And, I support you on this journey. I think
Thank you.
You're a very smart and healthy guy. And I think with all the different steps you've taken throughout your life to just improve your life, this is just another one.
Yeah.
And you've realized it now. And now you just, you'll make those changes to take better care of yourself.
I just needed the awareness.
Yep.
And now that I have it.
Yep.
I will say I don't want to waste a lot of time on our show talking about it. I did talk to our friend Carissa at the Beauty Unlocked podcast.
Oh.
And I am going to talk about it more in depth with her.
Okay.
Probably sometime in July.
Oh my gosh. Well, I love her show. She is a really great friend of the podcast. So yeah, wow. That's a great one.
Yeah, I told her, I said, I've got to talk about this and I don't want to waste more than 8-ish minutes on my show with it.
As you peer down at the time.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, Trevin, I also have a dreadful dilemma, which I feel like mine's going to sound kind of dickish now.
You're like, I have too much food.
No, gosh. No, but it does have to do with eating. So I'm like, oh my God. So, okay. Talk about weird behaviors in eating, okay? The other day, I was driving in my car with my husband in the passenger seat.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's common for us, like if we go somewhere, we were going to check out my parents' new house. It's common for us to like take a snack on the road, whatever. Mm-hmm. And my husband, Jordan, he loves a good hot Cheeto. So I hear him, crunching away, munching away. And then I look over, Trevin, and I see this man wearing like a surgical blue glove and eating his hot Cheetos with it. And I died. I was like, what in the hell? I was like, where did you even get this glove? Why are you wearing this glove in my car? What are you doing? And he was like, it's hot Cheetos. Like, I'm just keeping my hand clean. Like, to him, he was like, this is a no-brainer.
Did he buy gloves specifically for Cheetos?
So he says that he got it at work, which could have easily happened. He's an industrial painter, but it was just very alarming when I saw it.
Yeah.
And he was acting like I was the crazy one for thinking that he was weird. Anyway, I snapped some photos of him with the glove and the hot Cheetos. I'll show you after the episode, and I'll post it on social media if he gives me permission. But it was just the most ridiculous, over extra thing ever. And he took off the glove afterwards and was like, look, clean hands. And I'm just
now
like,
I can pick my nose.
yeah, exactly. I'm like, you are not like the tidiest, cleanest human I've ever met. So it's just so silly to me. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a lot of over preparation for eating Cheetos.
Yeah, like he had to bring the glove in the car. Like, I don't know. The whole thing caught me off guard and really weirded me out.
It makes me think they should sell like a special edition bag of Cheetos. It just comes with a little plastic glove stuck to it, and then you just pull it off and put it on when you eat. And
I'm sure, I get it. I get that Cheetos in general make your hands dirty and messy, so some people might be Team Jordan on this. I, however, just found it to be very shocking and very extra. But
yeah, he could really start a new movement.
Yeah, there might be a bunch of glove people out there. I don't know. Let us know if you've ever done something like that.
Yeah, it's kind of like my going hard in the pants thing. Emily said it. I made fun of it. Now people say it to me all the time because of the show. You're going to make fun of Jordan, and he's going to have the last laugh when you're walking by and people are driving and waving at you with a gloved hand.
Right.
Like, I'm eating Cheetos and driving. Thanks for the safety tip.
Yeah, they have one hand with a glove, one hand carrying a bag of Cheetos. Who's driving the car?
Their child.
Their knee, I hope.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. Please don't do that. Please don't Cheeto and drive.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it just really creeped me out. So that's my dreadful dilemma this week, but I sound like an insensitive dick.
Oh, don't worry. Our dilemmas are never related.
Oh, man. So anyway, we're going to be doing a round of top 5 this week, and I'm going first.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Top 5. So I got this information from dailystar.co.uk. So I know we do have a decent amount of UK listeners out there. Mm-hmm. And obviously we live in the US of A. These statistics are from the UK, and I just thought they're probably similar enough to the US. And also, I tried looking up these same statistics for the US. There was nothing as good as this article gave me. Okay, so Trevin, I want you to try and guess my top 5 before I tell you the answers.
Okay.
What do you think the most common criminal first names are in the UK?
This is a really good one.
Yeah, and I tried finding it, like I said, for the US, but this one is so detailed. And it came from actual police records, like going through all the charges in the UK and combining it to figure out what the most common people's names are that commit crimes. So I have actually 2 top 5s. I have the top female names and the top male names.
I was about to ask how our genders went here.
Yes. So do you have any guesses? These are names that you'd hear in the US all over as well.
Okay, we're going to go female first. I'll say Amanda, Emily. And that's not just because...
I think you're a little biased here.
Well, I think we've had a few Amandas already.
Okay.
We were at a wine restaurant the other day, and it was one of these places where you get a card, and there was just like a bunch of white women everywhere. Uh-huh. And Emily was in the bathroom, and she was like, "Oh, you can cash out on my tab." I went up to the guy and I said, "Oh, hey, I'm here to cash out." And it's like, "Oh, what's the name?" And I said, "Emily," but I bet there's probably like 5 of them in here. And he looked, and there was like 3. And he was like, "Which one?" And I gave him the last name. So I was like, okay, that's usually a pretty good guess. So
okay,
Amanda, Emily, Jessica, Bailey,
Oh, okay.
and Jennifer.
Okay, well, you did not get any of them correct.
Jesus, I thought Amanda was a pretty good guess.
But nice try, and I take personal offense.
You're a petty criminal.
I'm not even on the top 10, okay?
Wow.
So I'll start with number 5. Number 5 is Lauren. And I know exactly how many Laurens have criminal charges and everything.
Oh.
Like, they compiled the list of names over 42,000 criminals. And this is a very recent one. This article came out May 2021. So a lot of the things I saw, statistics for the US were like really old, like 2016. So anyway, in the 42,000 criminals that they gathered, Lawrence committed 101 criminal charges. Number 4, Lisa. Lisa's committed 103 criminal charges. Number 3, Claire, 104 criminal charges. Number 2 is Amy with 111 criminal charges. And drum roll, please. Number 1 is Sarah with a whopping 117 criminal charges.
Sarah's a good one.
Yeah, so actually, I think I know somebody with the name with every single one of these names. I know we have a really favorite listener of ours that has the name Lisa.
Oh, yeah.
I can't wait for her to hear this.
We got a couple Sarahs, too.
Yes, we do. Send us your DMs, Sarah's, Amy's, Claire's, Lisa's, and Lauren's, and tell us what crimes you've committed. Okay, what about for men?
Men, I'm going to go with Chris, Adam, Jordan, Edward. Yes, I know that's your husband's first and middle name.
I know, wow.
And Robert.
And you did not get any of those correct either.
Not even Bob?
No.
I guess I should have said James. Can I throw James in there too?
You can.
Okay.
James is number 5.
Yay.
So, wow, these men committed way more crimes than the women.
Why am I not surprised?
So James committed 796 criminal charges. Paul is number 4 with 874 criminal charges. Michael is number 3.
Why didn't I say Michael? Damn.
With 895 criminal charges. Daniel has 1,001 criminal charges. And drum roll, please. Number 1 is David with 1,010 criminal charges.
Ew, David.
So what's funny is that the name of this article, it says, police reveal most common criminal names. And it's bad news for Davids and Sarahs.
Davids and Sarahs. Too bad we didn't know a couple like David and Sarah together.
Right. I'd be like, ooh, avoid them.
The unlawful family.
I wouldn't go out with them anytime soon.
No. That was a good idea. Sometimes when I think of top 5s, some days I'm super inspired. And other times I'm like, what the fuck do I figure out for a top 5 here? That's a good one.
Top 5s are hard. I will say, out of all of our segments, top 5s are tricky for me sometimes.
Yeah, they're tricky for me too. That and Would You Rathers, which is kind of weird.
Huh.
So I was trying to think of mine. I was actually in a hurry because I was getting ready to guest on a podcast.
Oh,
on
do tell.
Kate and Beck Get Their Shit Together. We'll post it on social media when it comes out. But I was really hungry and I had like 5 minutes before I had to set up my microphone and be on Zoom. And so I had a couple old chicken wings in the fridge. And so I grabbed them real quick and started eating them. Well, I got really excited and ate too fast, and I bit my own finger.
Oh.
Because I was eating so fast.
Wow. I thought you were going to say bit your tongue or bit your lip. You bit your finger.
Bit my tongue was in the first year. We did that one. But I bit my finger, and I felt like, ow, that really hurt. I didn't realize I was doing it. You know, if you purposely bite your finger, you know, your brain keeps yourself from hurting yourself too bad. So anyway, I was thinking, well, that bite hurt. What other bites would hurt?
Oh.
So I'll give you the top 5 worst bites.
Ooh, I like this one.
Do you have any guesses?
Oh, God. Probably, are they like specific? Like if there was a snake bite, is it a specific snake, for example? Or is it just an animal?
Well, there's 2 that are specific, but if you say it, I'll just give it to you.
I would guess some sort of venomous snake.
Okay.
I would guess a brown recluse bite. Maybe a bat bite? I don't know. Well, I guess if you were bit by like a gigantic animal, like a lion or something. Lion. And maybe I'll go with, alligator.
Okay. Well, you actually did really well.
I did?
Yeah, much better than me.
Oh, okay.
So this is coming from rd.com. That's the most dangerous bites list.
Okay.
Number 5 is the hippo.
Oh, dang it. Yes.
It says the bite has a force of 2,000 pounds per square inch, and the mouths that yawn open to 180 degrees. One victim of a hippo's foot-length teeth lost an arm and came away from the encounter with a wound so savage their lung was visible.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Number 4 is a king cobra.
Okay.
So there's your venomous snake.
Okay.
Bite from a king cobra can be rapidly fatal in as early as 30 minutes.
Dang, I didn't know it was that quick.
Yes, they say that the venom in one bite is 0.2 of a fluid ounce, which is enough to kill 20 people.
Ooh.
Number 3 is the American alligator.
Ah, yeah. I know, because their jaws can, like, lock, right?
Yeah, let's see. Strong enough to crack a turtle shell, an alligator has up to 80 sharp teeth that both hold prey and tear it into easily consumable pieces. Death is usually a given after an attack. Those who survive find themselves battling dangerous infections, some of the microorganisms believed to be transmitted from the feces of the alligator's previous victim.
Oh, my.
Yeah, feces. Number 2 is the saltwater alligator.
Oh.
Or crocodile, sorry. Saltwater
Okay.
crocodile. The most powerful bite award goes to the saltwater crocodile. According to a study from Florida State University, contrary to popular belief, it's neither the size of the teeth nor the length of the snout that accounts to the force, but the vicious snapping action enabled by the muscles to bring a crocodile's jaws together with a force of 3,700 pounds per square inch. Human crocbite victims rarely survive the experience.
My God.
And number 1, drum roll please, a mosquito.
Oh, I should have guessed mosquito. I hate those.
I was going to say, aren't you the one that has like a deep fear of mosquitoes?
Yes. Go back to like one of our first episodes and I talked about, well, maybe it wasn't one of our first, but I talked about ninjsquito and
that's
my
right.
deep fear and hatred of mosquitoes. I hate them.
A mosquito takes a bite so small you might not even notice it, which is why it's incredible that experts consider this insect to be the world's deadliest animal. That's because its bite can transmit a variety of dangerous diseases to humans. More than 400,000 people die every year of malaria alone, according to the Barcelona Institute of Global Health. But as the WHO points out, the pests also deliver chikungunya, dengue,
Oh, wow. Do
yellow
they?
fever, Japanese encephalitis,
Ooh.
and Zika virus. The suffering these insects inflict with their bites has devastating effects on millions of people worldwide.
Yes. Well, I feel validated in my fear and hatred because not only can they do all that shit to humans, but they can give your dog heartworms, which they did give Reptar heartworms years back.
Yeah, I remember that. That was a scary point for you.
Yes. So I absolutely despise mosquitoes. I should have guessed that one. Because, Zika, like pregnant women, like that's a terrifying thing right there.
Yeah.
Like if you're a pregnant woman and you get Zika, ooh, so scary.
Yeah, but you did really good. I think you nailed like 4 of the 5.
Dang, that was a good one. I like that a lot.
Thank you. I had a backstory that went along with it too, so that's great.
All right, so it is story time, and I'm going to be going first.
I'm ready for it.
It has been a minute since I have dove back into my criminal past in order to share a personal story with you all. So I decided, let's do one this week. I did go ahead and change all of the names, as I usually do on my personal stories. That's really all I'm going to say.
Did you change your name or?
Oh, no, I'm still myself, but I don't really, refer to myself in third person in it, so it's all good.
Oh, okay. I see. You are the main character.
Yes, yes. So here we go. Wouldn't it be nice if modern day brawls were just like the corny old Western standoffs? I think so. There I'd be, sitting at the local saloon, with a fresh pint in my hand, when my enemy walks through the swinging doors. As our eyes meet, I chug my pint and slam it onto the wooden table. I stand up to face my opponent and lift up my belt and holster. My enemy and I have an understanding as we nod at one another and walk outside. The spurs on my boots jingle as I take my place across from my adversary outside in the desert heat. We both grab our pistols and pause to let a tumbleweed blow by. It's a fair, honest, and pure face-off. No surprises, and one winner takes all. Unfortunately, fights today are nothing like this one. Cheap shots are accepted and at times recorded for the world to laugh at.
World star.
Not to mention, there are far less tumbleweeds involved. For today's story, I will be telling you all about a bar brawl that yours truly was involved in. But to do so, I must start off with a tragic love story of sorts, and the fuckboy who caused it all. Back in 2010, I was an art major in college who created works of art by day and partied it up each night. I had recently gotten out of a relationship and was enjoying being single for the first time in a while. That was until I walked into my life drawing class. After the initial shock wore off from seeing a nude model standing on top of a table in front of the room, I began to look around at my classmates. Peering over his sketch pad was a boy with dark black hair, colorful tattoos on his arms, and a bad boy attitude.
I'm gonna draw my picture in pen.
I was drawn in immediately. I should have known Nick was trouble as soon as we went on our first date. We had just sat down at a local Chinese restaurant when Nick got a call on his cell phone. He seemed slightly annoyed, yet amused, as he hung up and told the waiter we wanted our food to go. When I asked why, he told me that his two sisters were still in love with his ex-girlfriend and were on their way to the restaurant to ruin our date. To make matters even more alarming, that very same ex was waiting for Nick on his front porch at the end of the night. As soon as she started yelling, I noped out of there as fast as I could and went back to my apartment.
Nope.
There were 1,000 red flags slapping me across the face. And I figured that was the end of that. But in true fuckboy fashion, Nick managed to reel me back in, explaining that his ex Serena was in his past and that he really liked me. Thus began our multi-year whirlwind of an on and off again relationship. Eventually, I heard that Nick was officially back with Serena, and I was heartbroken. I saw the pair out together on a handful of tense occasions. Sometimes Serena would spew out shady comments towards me, while she was surrounded by Nick and her best friend Martha.
Sup, cheese dick?
It was a dreadful time. My spirits were lifted, however, once I heard the rumors that Nick had slept with Serena's best friend Martha. I had been sitting on this piping hot gossip tea for a few days when I spotted Serena and Martha out at a bar one evening. I was with my two roommates, and the shots of liquor kept coming. Vodka was practically leaking from my pores as I drunkenly announced to my roommates that I was going to go tell Serena what her best friend had been up to with Nick. There were mixed reactions from my roommates, but I honestly didn't care what anyone had to say on the matter. They promised to watch me from a distance and back me up if needed. Like a baby giraffe in heels, my drunken body made its way over to the bar where Serena and Martha sat side by side. When I made it to the bitchy besties, their backs were facing me. I politely lifted up my arm and began tapping on Serena's shoulder repeatedly, but she just kept talking with Martha. When I realized my polite gesture was going unanswered, I peeked my head in between the two of them and turned my neck slowly to face Serena. In an instant, the world had slowed way down. In this slow motion, my mouth began to speak one simple phrase. Martha fucked Nick. As soon as the shocking allegation left my lips, it was almost as if an atomic bomb had exploded inside the small bar. All at once, Serena grabbed my hair and yelled, "What did you just say?" Martha began to weep as she sprinted away from the battle that had just begun. Hair, fake nails, and liquor filled the air as my roommates pried Serena's fingers from my long locks. The whole time, I screamed out the same phrase again and again and again, each time bringing me more joy than the next. Martha fucked Nick! The bouncers abruptly kicked us out as we made the long and drunken journey back home. In the end, Martha really had fucked Nick. I don't know if it was the cause of Serena and Nick's breakup, but I can only assume it at least put a damper on things. Serena and I both moved on, and I can only imagine the fuckboy Nick still is to this day. No arrests were ever made in this case, but the assault and confession still live on to this day as an iconic bar fight from the past.
Wow, you hate her. He does sound like a real fuckboy, though.
Oh, I could have gone on and on and on about that, but I chose to just kind of, give the footnotes of that horrible relationship.
Yeah, I think he did a good enough job of being like, hey, this guy had a lot of red flags. He was, in fact, a fuckboy.
Uh-huh.
Isn't that crazy, though, in those situations where, okay, like you get with somebody and then there's always that one old ex like sniffing around. And then no matter how long you guys go through this tumultuous time, it's just like, oh, that person's still been waiting on the sidelines. We're back together. It's like, doesn't that person have a life? Or doesn't that person have some self-worth?
Dude, for real. I guess neither of us really had good self-worth.
I mean, we were all young. None of us really did then.
But yeah, it was really weird. I mean, definitely top 5 worst dates I've ever had. Mm-hmm. Actually, my husband Jordan's date is probably number 1 of worst dates I've ever had, which maybe one day we'll get there.
Maybe in a top 5.
Right. Right. But there were a lot of red flags. And, your girl over here, I've been in a number of bar fights in my day. Yeah. I really wanted to talk about a bar fight that I had gotten into. I mean, I already kind of talked about the birthday punch, but that was just a cheap shot to the back of, the back of me. This one, I was kind of being a little petty shit going up and annoyingly tapping on probably my worst enemy at the time. And when I described my head going in between the girls and turning towards her, I mean, I'm being 100% accurate with how I handled the situation.
Like you knew you were being a clown about it.
I knew I was being a dick, and I knew that Martha was right there, and I knew that Serena was right there, and I knew, okay? I knew. I didn't know it would have been that big of an explosion. But, I probably should have thought that.
I mean, you're coming between 2 best friends and saying that one secretly fucked the other one's boyfriend. I would say that's pretty big. Especially probably since this dude is the way that he is, she probably always has a little bit of doubts that she's always trying to push off.
Yes.
So you just totally validated all of the negative thoughts she ever had.
Yeah.
And turned her against her best friend.
Yeah. And the way that her friend handled it, how she immediately was crying and ran away. Mm-hmm. Come on. At least if you're going to hide something from your best friend, do a better job.
Yeah, at least lie for a minute.
My God, she didn't even try to hold it together. I mean, I'm not the most reliable source in this girl's mind. I mean, you could have just been like, she's crazy. She probably would have believed you.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Also, I don't know if you watched the show A Handmaid's Tale. Do you?
I've watched Emily watch it. I don't really watch it.
Well, the names that I changed these people to are all names from A Handmaid's Tale.
Oh, very nice.
You know, I don't want to ever use anyone's real name when I'm talking mad shit on them. So yeah, I've been watching A Handmaid's Tale and I thought it was fitting.
I've yet to do that, like steal a whole group of names from a show. Except for our story about the girl who put the laxative in the cookies.
Yeah, you
She
did
gave them
Seinfeld,
fake
right?
names. Yeah, she did that herself.
Oh, she did that. Okay.
But still, it was funny. Good move.
I love creating new names. Like when I did another ex of mine and I called him Rumpelstiltskin.
Why did I not remember that?
No, it wasn't.
Oh, no, Rasputin.
It was Rasputin, not Rumpelstiltskin.
Yeah, I was like, I don't remember that at all. Wow.
Too many R names.
Yeah,
that
you'll
are-
have to date another Rumpelstiltskin or something in a different story.
Oh my God. So are you ready to tell me a story?
I'm ready to tell you a story.
Okay.
This story is from the news, and it is very recent.
Ooh.
This was, I don't want to say it was suggested by a listener because Emily doesn't listen, but
Yeah, neither of our partners listen. What is wrong with them?
I mean, they have to listen to us outside of the show, so I wouldn't really, I don't blame
They
them.
don't want to hear us talk on their spare time.
No. So she said, you have to do this. You have to do this. And then I was like, okay, I'll put it in the list. Okay, I'm going to sit down and write. And she was like, no, you have to do that one. And I'm like, let it stew in my brain. And she said, no, do it now. So to make her happy, I'm doing this story. This is another one of my weird ones. I'm going to do things a little bit different.
Okay.
And I hope you all enjoy it because I'm going to feel awkward halfway through it and want to stop. So
I'm so lucky to get to witness this in person then.
you are. So here we go. Of all the pastimes that a human being can partake in, there is one that we all do. Whether you enjoy it, seek out opportunities to do it, or despise it altogether, you can't help but engage in the act. The act, of course, is people watching. Any bit of awareness of your surroundings will come with at least a small helping of people watching. A cop will survey a room, taking note of every person in the vicinity, just in case things go wrong. An introvert will keep a watchful eye on everyone, just hoping no one tries to talk to them. And people like me will study every person they come in contact with, seeing what things they can learn from how that person lives their life.
So mullets do make you more aerodynamic.
In my world, I find most everyone to be fascinating in their choices of how they live their life. It usually circles back to some deep, existential, philosophical reason, but I feel like I can learn about myself by also learning about others. Oftentimes, I will go to a certain event and walk away with more memories about the people there than what I went to go see in the first place. It just really blows my mind. With almost 8 billion people living on this planet, each one of them has their own life, their own hobbies, and make their own choices. So when I go to a concert and see a guy wearing 3 different patterns that obviously clash, I can't help but look a little deeper. Does this guy love to be tacky? Does he just have terrible taste? And if so, what other kinds of decisions is he making behind the scenes? If this guy is out in public, seemingly putting his best foot forward, I want to peel back the offensive to the eyes curtain and see what else he's hiding. Maybe he eats dog food when no one's around. He goes to sleep listening to recordings of babies crying.
This is my jam.
Or even worse, he collects model cars. At this point, every action this person makes is being scrutinized by me. He wipes his nose real quick, he blinks a little too often, or even makes an off-timed expression. I'm collecting every bit of this data and calculating it, making my final decision on whether or not I like him. But let's be honest. My decision was made the second I noticed him wearing an Argyle sweater under a houndstooth jacket. Today's tale is the account of one very infamous people watcher one with hundreds of years of experiences under their belt. But we will soon find that no matter how many years you've been on this earth, you can still be surprised. Oh, what a storied life I've lived. With over 500 years on this earth, you'd think that I would have seen it all. But alas, I sit here framed in a mixture of poplar, beechwood, and oak. You see, it's not easy to maintain an old lady such as myself. Restoration measures have been taken throughout the years, with updates to my casing. I'm not the same work of art that I was back when my darling Leonardo first breathed life into me. I've survived an acid attack, had countless items thrown at me, and even took a 2-year vacation where I lived in a strange man's apartment. And let me just say, that man was not a very clean host. So needless to say, I've needed some upgrades to maintain my form. If you're looking for an all-natural woman, honey, maybe you should go check out Whistler's mother. I've got plenty of miles in my metaphorical shoes, unlike that old broad. But you really can't please them all. I've been around since the 16th century, and I still have men critiquing my smile. They turn their noses up and gawk, walking away and calling my expression half-hearted, or even ambiguous. These people should be so lucky that I maintained any look of glee after all of their criticism.
You call that a smile?
But where are my manners? I haven't even introduced myself. I go by Mona, or Lisa, depending on how acquainted people think they are to me. But honestly, I'm much more of a Phoebe, if you ask me. Yes, that was a Friends reference, for any of my 90s fans out there. What? You wouldn't expect an old bird like me to make a TV reference from the 1990s? Well, there's a lot you have yet to learn about me. I sit here day after day in my climate-controlled case. People shuttle in and people shuttle out, all waiting in line just to see me. Their handheld devices held high, ready to snap a colored photograph, so they can post it and get attention from people that aren't even around them.
My ex is gonna be so jealous.
But with every art geek that graces my gallery comes a romantic partner that doesn't have an appreciation for the arts.
Can we go get baguettes now?
Or even an American family walking in just to say they did it.
Okay, we saw it. Now get your ass in the car!
The unimpressed bystanders of the viewing queue come in, more focused on their telephones than on me, usually watching Friends. With the 10.2 million people per year that come in to view me, I've been able to piece together the entire series of Friends. And let's just say, I believe they were on a break. But along with passing glances of Phoebe and the rest of the cast from people's phones, I take great pleasure in watching all of the interesting people that step foot in my gallery. There's the art snobs who cry looking at me, just hoping that others will notice.
She's so beautiful.
The children with no respect for museums. And the Redditors who come in just to say they can do better, but choose not to pick up a paintbrush and try for themselves.
It's really a simple technique. Anyone can do it.
Why don't you just do it?
Shut up, Amanda.
I've seen bowl cuts, mullets, and afros of all different colors. I've seen styles change from tunics to rompers, and everything in between. High heels, Air Jordans, and flip-flops have all stepped in. But I still can't understand why anyone would choose to wear Crocs. If you've ever heard of the Mona Lisa effect, it is not just some silly term created by people who stare at me too long. I do, in fact, follow everyone with my eyes. And wouldn't you? I get bored up here. I haven't changed in over 500 years. Yet all of you continue to change. The real show exists within the walls of my gallery. Although I love watching all people throughout my time on display, I've fallen in love with the sweet elderly. To me, they are mere children. But I understand that the human existence does not age quite as gracefully as a painting such as myself. Luckily for them, they are given the best seat in the house, where most people must stand at a far distance from me.
This is as close as I get?
The elderly are saved a special place much closer. This allows their aging eyes a better look at all of my masterful details. Some react and gasp in delight. Some simply sleep. And others ask random questions to their caregivers.
When's lunch?
They are my favorite people of all my customers. But just last month, I had the strangest devotee of all my years. On a normal day last month, my gallery was packed to the brim with onlookers. My dearly beloved elderly were wheeled into their special parking spots. But amongst all of the organized chaos, I couldn't help but notice one particular guest. In the cavalcade of elderly was one very peculiar-looking person. She rolled in, looking quite able in her wheelchair. And I don't want you to think that the Mona Lisa is judgy, unless you're wearing Crocs, of course. I think all people should express themselves how they want. This person, however, looked like a young man in a wig. Not only that, their lipstick was smeared terribly across their lips. Again, I choose not to judge. But just as my guard was dropped, I got back to creepily watching everyone in the room. That's when it happened. At that moment, the odd-looking old woman stood up from her wheelchair and took off her hair. My suspicions were correct. She was in fact a young man in a wig. The newly recognized man walked directly towards me and began to beat on my case. Any rookie painting would have been scared, but this was far from my first rodeo. I sat comfortably from the confines of my bulletproof case, laughing away. What a spectacle! Bravo! What a show! Once the man realized he could not penetrate my indestructible fortress, he reached under the blanket he had left on his wheelchair. I was completely in shock. Underneath that blanket, the man had been concealing a cake. I didn't think it was my birthday, but I'm always down for a party. As I began to hold my breath for the candle, the man smashed the cake directly into my case. I had never. I was so offended. Not only was I offended by this, but all of the people's cameras panned away from me and on to the man. In my own gallery, I was not even the main attraction. The gall. The man began to rant about the earth and climate, while throwing roses at the feet of everyone in the crowd.
Save the planet!
Apparently, smashing cake on me was some sick form of protest. He continued to preach to the crowd until the proper authorities came to arrest him and take him away.
Get his ass!
In May of 2022, a 36-year-old man disguised himself as an old woman to gain access to the elderly seating section of the Mona Lisa gallery in the Louvre Museum in Paris, France. When finally in position, the man ripped off his wig, jumped up from his wheelchair, and attempted to break the case to the famous painting. To his surprise, the Mona Lisa was protected by a bulletproof case. This was when he pulled out a white cake and smeared it all over the painting's case, while throwing roses everywhere. With everyone's attention, the man began to scream in French. Think of the earth! There are people who are destroying the earth! Think about it! Artists tell you, think of the earth! That's why I did this. The unnamed 36-year-old man was tackled by security, arrested, and detained for attempting to damage a cultural property. I can't honestly find a teaching moment in this story. Maybe it's that you need to always keep your guard up if you're going to do an extensive people-watching session, or that there are better ways to protest and spread the word about pollution and global warming. Whatever the case, you've now heard the story of the Mona Lisa cake incident. So go forth and watch people live their lives. Tell the people to treat the world with respect. But please, watch your cake hole. So for anybody who doesn't know, Amanda had to put her head down the entire time and would not look at me.
I am tearing up right now. I could not look at Trevin.
Yeah, you do have a lot of tears in your eyes.
Oh my God. Oh my God. That by far might be one of my favorite stories now of yours.
Bravo, what a performance.
Oh my God. I know you felt awkward and uncomfortable at times doing the Mona Lisa voice. That sounds like Miss Doubtfire.
Yeah, an old English woman when she's probably Italian.
It's okay. We always get our accents wrong on this show.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I adored the way that you told this story. Wow. Before I even talk about the crime, I just have to say that was so clever.
Thanks.
Okay.
Emily played a part in how this was going to go.
Oh, so she was like, tell it from the Mona Lisa's perspective?
She did, and then I was just like, oh, I should do it in a stupid voice, and then, yeah, it just went from there.
It's so damn good. I love it. I don't know what you were so scared of.
Well, it was just really hard to do, and I gotta say, breathing while doing that voice is not easy for me.
Yeah.
It's a lot of projecting.
Think of all the old British women out there.
And they probably wore corsets too, which made it even harder. Oh, dear.
Oh my goodness, I can't breathe. Oh, that was so good. I am so glad you did that crime too, because what a bizarre situation.
Yeah.
Okay, everything about the crime was weird. Like a cake? Did he bake the cake? Was it a store-bought cake? I need information on this cake. I doubt anyone has told any information on the cake. I just want to know it.
I mean, the guy's name wasn't even released.
Really?
Yeah, he's the unnamed 36-year-old man.
Oh, wow, he's 36.
I'm guessing maybe France is better about protecting people's names than America is.
Wow, okay. I also feel like if you are going to go that extreme with like your disguise and the cake and the roses.
The roses is weird.
And you're going to just really go out there as far as you can go on the bizarre branch. Mm-hmm. Wouldn't you think a little bit more about the words you're about to scream out? I feel like his words were just kind of like very scattered and the most last minute part of the whole plan.
Yeah, it didn't really land. You had like the whole world is watching kind of a thing, and I feel like you kind of fell on your face as far as words.
Yeah.
I mean, you got everybody looking, and then not only that, you caused a huge spectacle.
Yeah.
And it's like, take advantage. And he's just like, help the world.
He's like, yeah, like I can't even remember the exact words you said, but he like repeated unnecessary things.
Well, here, let's just.
Yeah, I'm like, what in the actual hell?
His quote was, think of the earth. There are people who are destroying the earth. Think about it. Artists tell you, think of the earth. That's why I did this.
Yeah, I feel like artists tell this.
I mean, I understand the artists are very big about, help the earth and everything, but it's just, how is trying to destroy a piece of art, you saying, listen to artists? That sounds like you're trying to hurt art.
And you're talking about destroying the earth, but you're going to destroy a precious piece of artwork?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think the whole thing is so weird.
And just imagine this guy goes up and he's like sitting there trying to break the Mona Lisa. Everybody's watching, which you think that somebody, like an onlooker, would just be like, don't hurt my beautiful art. But he's doing that. And then once cops start showing up, he's just like, a rose for you, a rose for you. Like just throwing roses at people's feet. I imagine he's doing like some sort of like a salsa dance while doing it. It's just, you're a real crazy showman. Like he's got pizzazz.
I mean, yeah, that's one thing you can say about the guy. He definitely has pizzazz. I don't know. The words really crack me up. You barely got the point across, I feel like. But
yeah, as much as I tried to understand it, I just couldn't. And let me just say, the history of the Mona Lisa is very interesting.
Oh, yeah.
There was an acid attack.
I forgot
she was
about
stolen for
that.
2 years.
Oh, yeah. So who's the guy who lived in the dirty apartment?
It was like a guy in like I think it was the early 1800s. He was hired on there as a security guard. He stole it his first day on the job, ran off. He kept it in his house for like 2 years because he wanted the heat to go away, you know?
Yeah.
He finally got a hold of some sort of a dealer to sell it. And then the whole deal got caught and he got arrested for it. So then it got put back in the museum. And that is actually why the Mona Lisa is so famous. They said the painting wasn't even like highly regarded through all the first few hundred years because it wasn't a big of a deal. But then it made the stories because it was all in the news for being stolen. Then people were like, I got to see this thing.
So, and then the acid attack, I briefly remember hearing of that, but somebody threw acid on it?
Yeah, somebody threw acid on it. I didn't actually get the full story on that
Okay,
one.
because I'm like, I'm going to have to re-look into that one too. Wow. And people have all these different theories about the colors used and where the hell is the background?
Yeah, the background's very like blurred.
Everyone has their own theory about the background, about the smile, about is this actually a self-portrait? You know, all these freaking things. It's a very interesting piece of art, and wow, what a weird, petty ass story to go with it.
Yeah, I mean, imagine if it wasn't in a bulletproof case and he actually would have destroyed the Mona Lisa. Like, that dude would have been, like, hung.
Right. Yeah, like, clearly he wanted to put the cake directly on the painting?
Yeah, because they said he was beating on it a couple times, and then it was just like, I guess I'll just go through with the plan now, which is probably why his words were so botched, because he was like,
Right.
I expected to break the case.
Yeah.
Cake, earth, roses.
Protect the earth, protect the earth. Oh my God.
So you got a connection with those bad boys?
I actually weirdly and embarrassingly do.
Oh, good, because I couldn't think of one while you were telling me.
So, unfortunately, the unnamed 36-year-old man and I have something in common. We were both kicked out for committing a petty crime.
That's true.
I mean, he got in a hell of a lot more trouble, I assume.
Yeah, he was arrested.
Yeah, than I did, just for my little bar brawl. But hey, we both got kicked out by bouncers/police officers.
Yeah, a form of security was called on both of you.
Yes, and I'm very embarrassed to say we have something in common.
Too bad you didn't throw roses at everybody before going out.
I should have been like, Martha fucked Nick, throwing roses everywhere.
I would love that.
Oh, man. Wow, what a hell of an episode.
Yeah, what a time.
Hell of a story. I'm still in shock by it all.
Yeah.
Well, I hope everybody has an amazing week. And just remember, no matter the crime, big or small, in the end, we're all doomed.
Doomed and showing pizzazz.
Pizzazz. Bye.
See ya.
Hey, thanks for still listening. If you've made it this far, we love you.
If you're a 500-year-old painting in a bulletproof case, why don't you check us out on social media with all that time? You can find us on Instagram or Facebook at Seriously Sinister Podcast or Twitter, Seriously Sinister Pod.
We're also on TikTok. And if you have been in a bar brawl fight, send us your petty crime stories to seriouslysinisterpodcast@gmail.com, or you can DM us at any of our social medias.
And if you have a deadly bite that could puncture a lung, why don't you use that to tell us a review? Give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Good Pods, or anywhere else that you can tell people good things about us. Oh, what a storied life I've lived.
Okay. I'm so sorry. sorry.
Emily said you were going to be like this.
So sorry. I'm gonna have to really. Okay. I'm sorry. That just sounded like Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah, this is another thing too. Is I am not going to do this voice the right way in any way.